Stace and Barry, they're back in the morning. Is it still series 2 or now is it series 3? We don't know, we keep winging it because we're crap at scheduling. Hi guys, welcome to Stace and Barry in the morning. I am the Stace half of that there title. And the other half is Barry, he's over there. Say hi.
Hi, welcome to season 45, everyone. Season 45. Yeah, bitches.
Woo! I was going to say, if we called it like the end of a season every time we didn't do an episode on schedule, we would literally be like at season 50 by now. All of the series is a one episode long, and
Yeah.
we're sorry. Look, we're sorry. Okay, let's be fair. A lot has happened over the past few months that have caused some minor mental breakdowns, and I was sick for a bit. I had an ear infection, wasn't allowed to wear headphones, which doesn't help with podcasting at all.
No.
And just generally, life.
Yeah, but we're here. We're back.
Here now. Whoop whoop. Yeah. Pow, pow, pow. I was trying to do an air horn again. I'm just not very good at it. Yeah.
What are you doing?
I'm doing an air horn. Fuck's sake.
That was it. Can you do the air horn again, please?
Pow, 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 pow. What? Is it not good?
I'm torn between thinking it's one of the best sound effects you've done too. That was just shit, and I'm not sure which way I'm going.
I think it very easily could be both. I'm not going to lie. It could definitely be both.
Yeah.
Look, I haven't mastered the art of air horn fakery. In all the extra spare time I've had, that's not been one of the things I've decided to try and pick up.
No. I like it though. I like the energy for it, Stace. I like where it's going.
Yeah, well, I was trying to give sort of like a really bouncy, energetic feel, but it does sound a bit more like a sad fart, doesn't it?
I think it's just because I wasn't expecting it. I have to do it at random points throughout the episode just to keep me on my toes.
What I'll do is I'll download a soundboard and intersperse like actual air horn and then mine, and we'll see if you can tell.
Indistinguishable.
Indistinguishable, mate. I could have been an air horn if I'd have really tried.
Could have been an air horn. I don't even know what to do. I can't even unpack that sort of statement. So, Stace, do you like to leave school? Well, there's many options available, but I'd quite like to be an air horn.
You know when you get made to do those tests when you're a kid, those like weird job aptitude test things where you have to answer a load of questions and then they go, oh, you could be a nurse or whatever. Like all of my class got like what I would consider to be good standard jobs, like works in IT, doctor, lawyer, or they got like things that were very much in their interest set, like actor or like, mine fucking came out as person who puts up big fucking billboards, even though I'd selected on the quiz that I fucking hate being outside, I can't climb a ladder because I hate heights. And I mean, I suppose I did say that I don't really want to work with people. So I guess like being up a really tall ladder, putting up a billboard is quite far from other people, but still. Anyway, suffice to say, I did not become a billboard putter-upper because that's a weird job to have for a person afraid of heights.
Says the person who has a desire to be an air horn.
Mate, when I was a kid, I wanted to be She-Ra when I left school. So
yeah, well, that's fair enough. I mean, there you go. I wanted to be Indiana Jones, but then I realised there's a whole bugs and insects thing involved with that profession, so I'm out.
See, the problem for me with the She-Ra was the lack of an enchanted sword.
Yeah, I could see that'd be a problem.
Yeah, and I don't have a flying horse pet.
Yeah.
Well, it's not really a pet, it's a pal, isn't it? Anyway, shut up, Stace. Let's do some actual podcasting, fucking hell.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, pow, 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 pow. That's just going to be my interstitials now instead of trumpets, just an air horn.
So shall we do a segment?
Yeah, sure. Which one do you want to start with?
I don't mind going for a pick of the fortnight.
Okie dokie. My brain's had a brain fart on trumpets. Oh no.
You're still on air horn, that's why.
I'm just stuck in an air horn. Help, I'm trapped in an air horn. Let's just go with the good old standard.
Cool. So I'm doing pick and Fortnight, aren't I?
Go on. Well, I've got one as well, but you can go first.
Okay. I'll give you a clue what mine is. And count myself in. Spider-Man, Spider-Man, does whatever a spider can. Spins a web any size, catches thieves just like flies. Look out, here comes the Spider-Man. Is he strong? Listen, bub, he's got radioactive blood. Can he swing from a web? Take a look overhead. Hey, here comes the Spider-Man. In the chill of night, at the scene of a crime, like a streak of light, he arrives just in time. Jazz! Spider-Man, Spider-Man, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Action. I don't know how the rest of it goes. There's a bit where he says action is his reward, which I really wanted to sing, but I didn't know how it fitted in, so I'm really upset about that. But
yeah, it's like diddly bop, skiddly boop, action is his reward. Look out, skiddly bop boopy doop.
Yeah. If people are thinking that my pick of the Fortnight was going to be my rewatch of the 60s Spider-Man show, they'd be wrong, massively wrong. But it was the only way I could segment into. I've been playing it's not a new Spider-Man game at all. The semi-old Spider-Man game on the PS4.
Ooh, snazzy times.
I actually bought this game about a year ago, and it's just been sitting on my PS4 hard drive. And I've moved my PS4 downstairs. And with the whole lockdown thing and whatever, I was just getting a bit ground down with life, as you would do. And it just felt everything I was doing, watching on TV or even playing, just seemed a bit bleak. And I just wanted something a bit fun to get my teeth into. And everyone's been saying how great the Spider-Man game is. I put this game on, and within about 10 minutes, it was like the world seemed a bit brighter.
Were you doing just the pointing at everybody as you were walking around?
Yay! Yeah, just like Tobey Maguire, that's me.
That's another Funko you can get that'll look just like you.
You look just like me. It's so much fun, and it's about as close to being Spider-Man as you could get. It's just glorious. It reminded me, there was a Spider-Man game way back in the day, which everyone raved about, which I think was just called Spider-Man 2. I can't remember what console it was on. That's when you had to keep saving red balloons that a kid kept losing.
What a dickhead.
Don't know why. So it's the same sort of thing. It's basically, it's open world. You've got, it's pretty standard compared to most open world games these days, where you've got your main story, and you've got all little side missions that you can do around the city. But what I quite like is when you're kind of moving around the city going to missions, other things are kicking off, like crimes and stuff. And you'll be sort of swinging, and all of a sudden you'll see, like, down below, like, there'll be a police chase or whatever. You're like, I'm having some of that. And you'll leave whatever the missions you're doing just to get involved in the police chase. And I think one of the missions I was doing was to, like, get a cake for Aunt May or something, and then there was a police chase kicking off. I was like, yeah, sod her, mate. So,
she can wait for a cake.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I'm getting involved over there. But yeah, no, it's really good fun. Graphics are amazing. The way they handle him sort of swinging around the city and stuff is just phenomenal.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so good. And to begin with, I thought I was going to struggle with it, but it's one of those games that you kind of, if you play it enough, it didn't take me that long. You get it, and suddenly it becomes second nature. And there have been times I've just put the game on for 10 minutes, not played it properly. I've literally just swung around the city just because I can.
Yeah, it's Rich bought it when it came out, and I haven't played it myself because I am not good at games that have like more than one button to do things. So if it's like, hey, you've got to press a combination of these buttons to do this particular move, I'm like, well, I'm never mastering that move. But like just watching him swing around, like especially when like it's like, you know, and it's like sunset and the sky looks all gorgeous and the lighting's all stunning and you're just swinging about the place. It is. I think it's a really relaxing game because, like you say, you don't have to really do anything unless you particularly want to. So if you want to just go and swing about for a while, it's totally acceptable.
Yeah,
and it's really fun.
And also as well, like I've never usually been one of these people that do collectibles and that you can get different skins for characters and stuff. I've never really been into all that. I'm just like, I just want to play the game. But then I noticed it's like you can get different outfits for Spider-Man. I'm like, yeah, whatever, man. I like the outfit he's got. And then suddenly there's a Spider-Man which is from Into the Spider-Verse. But I think he was different anyway because I'd read the comic, which is Spider-Man Noir.
Mm.
And
yes.
And into the Spider-Verse, he's done up slightly differently than what he was in the Spider-Man Noir comic that I remembered reading.
Mm.
And it was suddenly like, oh, you can get a Spider-Man Noir costume. I was like, you fucking what? So,
get that hat on, mate.
So I literally, it looks different because you don't get the hat and stuff. But when you get the Noir, he basically looks a little bit like the Rocketeer.
Oh, nice.
And all of a sudden, I'm like, suddenly for me, I'm now playing a pulp adventure game, open world game as a kind of Spider-Man. But in my mind, he's basically some sort of Rocketeer type spider character. And he has one of his abilities. I can't think of what you call it, but when you turn it on, the whole screen it all turns to black and white for a little while.
Mm.
So yeah. If you haven't played this game and you've got a PS4 and you like Spider-Man or superhero stuff in general, you're missing out on a trick.
I have heard, although to be fair to me, I wasn't paying a lot of attention to this story because I didn't know you were going to talk about this. I haven't prepped in any way. But I've heard there's going to be I don't know if it's like a downloadable thing or an expansion thing, but when the PS5 comes out, they're bringing in Miles Morales as a playable character in it, which just looks like it's going to be pretty top tits.
I think it's going to be, what I've heard is a little bit like what they did with... So you had the Uncharted game series, but they brought out another game which was called Lost Legacy, which used some of the characters from Uncharted. But it was its own game, but it was basically a shorter experience than the Uncharted one would be. So I think that's what they're doing with the Miles Morales one. But I haven't decided if I'm getting a PS5 yet anyway.
Do you know what? Every time a console comes out, Rich acts like he's not going to get it. He's like, no, it's too expensive. I'll wait a year or so. It'll be fine. And every time, without fail, the day it comes out, he's like, oh, I caved and I ordered it. He's just like, of course you did. Because of course you did. No, I'm quite, I should have a go at that game, I think, but I don't know if the controls would be too much for me because I'm a bit of a div. And also I know that there's a couple of, stealth missions, which I am not good at. Ones where you have to, hide while two guys are walking in a certain way and you've got, no, just, I'm going to get caught and I'm going to get killed. That is inevitable. But it is a fun game for me to watch somebody competent play.
I'd never come round to my house and watched it.
I might. You never know. Not right now, obviously. I can do a really quick pick of the Fortnight because I've only watched 2 episodes of it so far. Okay. But there's a new cartoon out from the guy that made Regular Show. It's called Close Enough, and it is... did you ever watch Regular Show at all?
No, never heard of it.
Okay, Regular Show is a Cartoon Network cartoon about a blue jay and what I sort of assume is a raccoon, but actually now that I think about it, I'm not 100% sure, who work at a park, which sounds really dull, but it's really fucking funny because it's also, totally surreal and all the humour's just, bananas. It's made by a guy called J.G. Quintel. And this show, Close Enough, is, I was going to say more realistic because it's about actual, human people. It's a sitcom about human people. It's a couple who've got a kid, dealing with that sort of thing in their lives. But almost immediately it becomes insane. There's a bit where they go to, what is essentially a Spanish flea market, I would say. Not a place where you buy Spanish fleas, a place that's everybody speaks Spanish and it's a flea market. Anyway, and the guy ends up buying a bird that looks just like him. Like, they dress it up to look just like him, and he calls it Bird Josh, and it's mad. But it's very, very funny. And I think if you liked Regular Show and the sort of surreal, absurdist humour from that, I think people would like it quite a lot. It's got Jason Mantzoukas in it, who I quite enjoy. He was the guy in John Wick who said TikTok, John Wick, or whatever it was he said. Something like that. TikTok, bruv. Yeah, so it's good. Give it a watch.
Cool. Okay. I will give that a look. See. So what was that on? Okay.
I don't know. No,
say no more. Wink.
No, it 100% could have been on something legal. I don't know. We have so many streaming services now. I haven't got a fucking clue. Rich just puts things on, and I'm like, all right. So I'm sorry, I don't know, but
that's okay.
Yeah, give it a whirl. I would actually suggest giving Regular Show a whirl as well, because it's finished now, so there's like a finite amount of episodes, and it's very funny. There's a ghost in it called High Five Ghost, and he's just got a little hand on top of his head for giving high fives. Shall we do some musical musings?
Let's do some musical musings.
See, Spanish flea. Spanish flea. Oh dear, I'm going to go first because I'm rude. I discovered this week Ennio Morricone passed away, which was super sad.
Yeah.
And I discovered this week that he did the soundtrack to The Thing, and I don't know why I never knew that.
No, I didn't. I've never seen The Thing.
You've never seen The Thing?
No, because I always see a picture online with a head with spider leg coming out, and I'm like, no.
Okay, I will give you that. No. That's a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. It's terrifying, but it is a very small part of the film that you can very easily avoid if you wait for a bit where a guy's head comes off and then look away.
Right. Is that literally the only bit where there's a spidery...
That is, yeah, and it is only there, like, I can't tell you exactly for how long, but it's not like a super long scene where they're getting chased by this spider head or anything. Like, it's...
Sorry. Unfortunately now, I've that's the image I've got in my head now.
I'm so sorry. The Thing is one of my favourite films. Like, it might be the best horror film ever made, I think. It's certainly one of John Carpenter's best, I think, which I'm sure a lot of people will shout at me about because John Carpenter's amazing. But yeah, I had literally no idea that Ennio Morricone did the score to this, and I don't know why, because I like him and I love this film, and I'm like, what is wrong with me? I couldn't pick a single track off it, though, because it's not only is it all fucking immense, it's also really difficult because the whole film, the thing that I really like about The Thing is that it is, whilst there are sections like the bit with the head where there's like terrifying nightmare fuel on the screen, there's also an awful lot of like extended periods of creepy tension where you don't know who to trust and you're not quite sure if people are who they say they are, and you're also not quite sure if another creepy nightmare situation is about to happen right in front of your eyes. And that's the thing about this score. It is very atmospheric, it's very eerie, it's very tense. It complements the film just wonderfully. I would highly recommend, if you haven't listened to the score or seen the film, to do both of those things. It is a terrifying movie, but it is also fucking phenomenal. Yeah. It is one of those things where it was like, I don't know how I didn't know about this until he passed away, which is like, it feels horrible because it's like, how did I not know? But then when I went looking through his filmography, I was like, shit me, dude did a fucking million soundtrack.
Yeah.
Like, he was a busy dude, and he was still composing up until about, like, I think it was only about 5 or 6 years ago. Like, he's been giving it some fucking welly. But yeah, the thing, it's just creepy, tense awesomeness.
Cool. Yeah. I've gone back and forth. I'll say really quickly as a pick 0.5, and I can never say his name. Enrino, the name you just said.
Ennio Morricone.
Yes, him. Final Duel is the track from A Few Dollars More. Awesome piece of music. It's the one. If you know A Few Dollars More and you know your westerns, it's basically the theme with the pocket watch. You'll know what. If you've seen that film, you know what I mean. It's one of the best showdowns in a western, and it's just an awesome piece of music. So there's that. But my actual pick. So I'm still watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And I absolutely love that show, and I kind of think it's one of them shows that kind of has slipped under a lot of people's radar. Just because I think it was a bit by the numbers, and then all of a sudden it just sort of found its feet and basically just goes its own way, which is what I like about it. And it's on its 7th season. And this is their last season. And the music for this show has been done by one of my favourite composers, which is Bear McCreary.
Ooh.
And he has I don't know if they still let him do it, but he uses a live orchestra to record all the music. And the music in that show is phenomenal. And one of the things that really annoys me about it is you can only get the first season on Spotify.
Oh, no.
They've not released any of the other music. There's a couple of YouTube people who kind of rip the music out of each episode and kind of are able to take out all the sort of voice work and stuff like that. And they've actually done some really good playlists. So I use those a lot when I'm writing. What I wanted to do was do a little tribute to it. So what I've picked is the main theme for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because I actually think it's a fantastic theme. Which gets used. They use it. They use it. Probably overuse it in the first season, but as it's gone on, they've found better ways to sort of use it in more subtler ways. So yeah. So it's a cracking show. It's a cracking soundtrack. So Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Main Overture is what it's called.
Nice. Sorry, I was just suppressing a burp. I had a really big fry up. Might have had one too many beans. Do we have time for a wee little book corner?
I think we can squeeze in a book corner.
Excellent. Book corner. Pew, 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 pew. I'm not getting any better at it. Hey, I wanted to recommend a book to you by Neil Gaiman, which is called The Ocean at the End of the Lane. This is from 2013, and it is like a sort of dark fantasy, magical, surreal horror kind of situation. I won't go too much into the actual doings of the book because I don't want to spoil things. But it basically starts when an unnamed man returns to his hometown for a funeral, and he starts remembering events that began like 40 years ago that he realises he's completely forgotten.
Oh, wow.
And it's sort of like it's very Neil Gaiman in the sense that there's a lot of meaning and symbolism behind what he's doing. So even though it's like quite a surreal set of fantastical situations, it's very clearly about like a man sort of searching for a self-identity. I think Neil himself described it as sort of looking at the disconnect between childhood and adulthood and how you change and grow and as a person, and maybe some of those aspects you like and maybe some of them you don't so much like. It's very much about like sort of finding yourself and your place, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But rather than just being like a long and boring self-help book about how to, figure out who you are and get your shit together, it's it's a sort of spooky book about like a lake that's possibly an ocean, that's possibly a gateway to another dimension. And I shall say no more about it because I don't want to spoil things, except to say that it's really fucking good.
So that's the ocean at the end of...
The ocean at the end of the lane, yeah.
Right, okay.
It's funny because I genuinely thought I'd be talking about the Secret Commonwealth in this episode, which is the second of the sequel trilogy. So His Dark Materials was the original trilogy. This is the sequel trilogy to that. And I genuinely thought, it's Philip Pullman, it's in the His Dark Materials universe, I'm going to love it. Surprisingly. Don't think I did. Still haven't actually quite decided. It's really torn the old brain. I don't quite know what to make of it. So I thought, do you know what? Just go with the book you know you did like.
Yeah, I think that's the best. It doesn't that have a character in there called Lord Nugent?
It does, yeah. Yeah.
Just throwing it out there.
Yeah. Just saying, he says. I mean, I'm sure there's like so many books with Stacey Taylor's in. No, there's not. I've looked. Put me in books, people. Stacey Taylor's such a common name. How is it? There's 16 of us that work in the NHS. Come on. Anyway. Yeah. Neil Gaiman, thumbs up.
Cool.
Cool.
Right. That brings us to the end of the first episode of season 45.
How long before the next one? Who knows? Who
Season 80.
The way fucking 2020 is going, who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah, I mean...
Who had a case of bubonic plague in China for July? Anyone?
Checking Apocalypse Bingo. No, not me. I mean, it's gone on.
At least the murder hornets have gone. Yeah.
I mean, there is that. There's a huge... I have to see if I can find it and send it to you. It's comedian. She's funny. But she's done a sketch of... It's basically herself. She meets herself before the pandemic.
Mm.
And is basically telling herself, like, you know, that it all goes to shit. And then she doesn't. And then there's another one with it's 6 months into the pandemic, or is it 3 months in? I can't remember now. And yeah, and then she meets up with herself again and whatever. Yeah, and it is. And they do the Murder Hornets thing. And it's just kind of like, ooh, okay. But I mean, who knew? I didn't know at the start of the year that effectively I was going to turn into my own evil parallel self with a beard.
See, my beard just hasn't. It's been rubbish, if I'm honest. But my moustache is coming through pretty good.
Oh, okay, it'll get there. Just got to stick with it.
Get there one day. There one day. And on that super ladylike note. That was Stace and Barry in the morning. You can do us a tweet at Stacey's Parlour and at Geek Syndicate. You can send us an email, staceandbarry@gmail.com. You could try smoke signals. Wouldn't recommend it, though, because the way 2020 is going, you'll probably just start like the second Great Fire of London or some shit. Yeah. So maybe, I don't know, semaphore? Is that the flags?
Yes.
I feel like that's the flags.
Get out
of well, maybe.
Yeah,
I won't understand it. I won't be able to understand what you're saying, but it'll look great.
Yeah.
And, you know, stay safe and don't be a dickhead. And we love you.
Wise words as ever from the sage mistress.